Thank you. Bonjour, hello, kalimera. So thank you again for this great event, and I'm very honored to be here now this afternoon to speak specifically to guidance counselors who advise students on a regular basis, and to provide you with some information on Canada and how to promote Canada to your students. So hopefully this will be useful. Also, we have many Canadian institutions represented here, so please feel free to pitch in if there's anything that can be added to my comments. So if you've never been to Canada, your first thoughts may be of snow and hockey. What you'll find is quite different. Polar bears actually stick to the north regions, and we don't use sleds in our city streets. Canada is a modern land with a history of rich diversity, cutting-edge technology, and inspiring cultural icons. So Canada is recognized worldwide for some of its famous brands that you probably know already. So IMAX Films, Bombardier Company, Smart Technologies, the BlackBerry. But also well known thanks to some Canadian personalities who have left their mark around the world, including music bands and environmentalists like David Suzuki, Wayne Gretzky, a famous hockey player. So this is Canada, 34 million people, spread around 10 provinces and 3 territories. It's a country that is officially bilingual. English and French languages are the official languages, but also more than 200 languages are spoken in Canada, since this is a country of immigrants. In terms of education, Canada ranks among the top 3 OECD countries in spending per capita on public post-secondary education. This means that Canadian institutions provide consistent, high quality of education across the country. Academic credentials are valued worldwide, and it's also characterized by a stimulating and innovative research environment. Canada hosted in 2012 approximately 265,000 international students. In Canada, post-secondary education is the responsibility of provincial and territorial governments, and in each province and territory there are laws, policies, and procedures that govern the operation of post-secondary institutions. And each jurisdiction has its own quality assurance mechanism. Canadian institutions, and we have seen this morning, rank consistently high in some of the world rankings. 3 are in the top 50 of the QS university rankings, and 20 in the top 500. And then you have the other rankings that are listed here. But it's important to mention that Canada's secondary school students excel in science, reading, and mathematics particularly. And this is according to the OECD PISA studies in reading, mathematics, and science. Just to give an idea of Canada's education systems, we have to pluralize this, of course, because we have 13 different education systems. However, many of them are very similar. You'll have 12 years of elementary and secondary schooling in most provinces, and 13 years in Nova Scotia, which leads then to a bachelor's degree or entering the university system. Or in Quebec, there's a additional level as well, which we call the CEGEPs, or college level, we should say. But generally, in the end, the number of schooling years are equivalent. And then the post-secondary level is generally the same as in most countries. So you'll have the university bachelor's and then master's 1 to 3 years, doctorate level 3 years or more. What's interesting in Canada is you can have many pathways between levels. So I mentioned quickly the college level, which provides technical training, but also applied degrees, bachelor's degrees. So really a student can start in language training, go to college, then continue in university studies, and finish again with a specialization at the college level. So really the pathways are numerous in Canada. So post-secondary education, in terms of universities, there are more than 10,000 undergraduate and graduate programs at more than 100 universities in Canada. Institutions range from very large to smaller institutions that can also be research intensive, all characterized by a caring and supportive professors, cutting-edge technology and research labs. Cooperative education is also very strong in Canada with internship options. Ongoing R&D collaboration between Canadian businesses and academic communities is also very widespread. And also for students, opportunities to work on and off campus is also an interesting opportunity for international students. Now, just a little bit for those who weren't here this morning on the partnership building side of things. So really, partnership is also part of the whole international education strategy in our department. I just wanted to say that the universities have strong commitment to international research collaboration and mobility, which can certainly lead to a very interesting flow of students, Canadian and international. So it's not just about recruitment, but it's also about this free flow of ideas and research. There are close to 50% of publications from Canada that have co-authors from other countries. Canada is a world leader in clinical medicine, ICTs, physics, and astronomy, among others. And they all focus on and invest in quality international relationships. In terms of the colleges, institutes, and I should say also polytechnics and CEGEP's level, we have campuses in about 1,000 communities across Canada and over 8,000 programs. Program length varies from a few months to 4 years. There are very many practical programs that meet very specific needs in the industries and for employers. There are work placements that are available through apprenticeship or co-op education. And what an interesting statistics is that an average of 90% of college graduates obtain employment within 6 years after graduating. Sorry, months. Did I say years? 6 years? That would be too long. 6 months, excuse me. Also, 22% of college learners have university degrees and studies. So many of them have found that with a college specialization, they're even more able to find a good job. In terms of language training, as I said, Canada is officially bilingual and is also a world leader in language education. It's interesting for students to practice a language in their local environment, but study in another language. So that's also a characteristic of some institutions in Canada outside of Quebec, where you can study in French, learn English in your local environment, and we want to promote that as much as possible. And there's a wide variety of programs that also focus on very specific areas, like business and others. I'll skip that part. So what students need to study in Canada generally? Well, it'll be a study permit that is required for studies of 6 months and longer. And for that, a student needs to provide the following documents: so a proof of acceptance of the institution, a proof of identity, a financial support as well, and a letter of explanation. And this can be done either online or on paper. And we'll have someone from Immigration Canada to speak more or answer questions on this if necessary. In terms of cost, this is just an idea of an average cost for students who come to study in Canada. Let's look at the university level, for example, which can range from $17,000 to $44,000, including everything. So when compared, in the next slide, we'll compare with other destinations. Canada ranks as one of the cheaper options. Here we have different programs that are listed and that were compared among different countries. Unfortunately, the data is from 2009 and we weren't able to find anything more current. But it does give us an idea of where Canada ranks, and it's in the lower range of costs. In terms of living costs as well, Canada is fairly low compared to other destinations, almost or pretty much as on par with Australia. But it really depends, of course, on where in Canada you study. In terms of urban environments, of course, will be more expensive than in smaller cities. Now, we know that scholarships are key for encouraging students, especially from Europe and from Greece, of course, to study in Canada. There are various sources for scholarships for students. Of course, it is mainly based on academic merit, but you will find opportunities either within sometimes your home country. So we've heard from the foundation Stratus, is it? Sorry. Yes, just earlier. So this is the kind of opportunities that exist for students in Greece, but also you'll find some opportunities within institutions. Sometimes provincial governments, of course, as well, do offer opportunities for international students to study here through scholarships, and institutions themselves as well. So it is a matter of doing some research. So potential students interested in coming to Canada do have to do a little bit of research in terms of finding some financial possibilities. However, I'd like to mention from the federal government, we have two major scholarship programs that were announced in 2009. So one is the Vanier Scholarships for graduate students, which is worth $50,000 a year over 3 years, and the Banting Postdoctoral Fellowships at $70,000 a year for up to 2 years. So those are great prestigious scholarships that are offered for international and domestic students. And of course, what is also interesting is that it is possible to work while during studies, either on or off campus. So students can work up to 20 hours a week and can work also during the summer. There are also opportunities for co-ops and internships. And there's also possibilities to stay in Canada after graduation as well. So just quickly on the Canada-Greece relationship, just to say that at this time we have approximately 200 students who come from Greece each year. It's been steadily increasing since 2008, but we also get many students on language training. I should say, though, that among English-speaking countries, Canada ranks behind the US, the UK, and Australia as a study destination. So we are trying to promote Canada a little bit more as a really good option in terms of study, and cheaper. And I forgot to mention, this is important, there's a bilateral agreement between Greece and Canada to enable youth to come and work and travel in Canada for up to 12 months, but also to do co-op placements and also for young professionals to do an internship in Canada. So this is a very interesting program for Greek youth to come to Canada. So I'll skip the part on, well, we have great campuses, of course, support within institutions, sports. This is more of the, extracurricular stuff that we can talk about a bit later if you are interested. And focus just on one last important program that we have. We've developed, and this is specifically for guidance counselors that I want to mention this, we have a Canada course now, which was developed for education agents, but it is open to whoever is interested in learning more about Canada and how to advise students. So for the Government of Canada, it's a really great tool to educate our advisors around the world and make sure that they give accurate information and the latest information as well. So this is accessible through canadacourse.ca. So I invite you to look at this if you want to know more. So that is what I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wanted to mention that my team will have put out information specifically geared towards guidance counselors that was provided by many of the universities, and we also have material provided by Stephanie, her presentation for you to take home. I'd now like to call on representatives of Canadian universities to talk a little bit about their respective institutions, and I'd like to turn to McGill University. Weinstein.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Madame Mercure, for putting our discussion in context. I'm delighted to have the chance to meet with all of you and to give you a very quick snapshot of the wonderful experience McGill has to offer to your students. As many of you are no doubt aware, McGill is one of the world's top-ranked public, comprehensive, and research-intensive universities located on two campuses, one in downtown Montreal and the other one in Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue, where we focus on agriculture, environmental sciences, food safety and security, water management, parasitology, to name a few. In fact, in the QS World University Rankings that came out earlier this month, we were once again in the top 25, where we've been for the last 9 years, and one of the world's top 5 public institutions. Our student population numbers around 39,000, with about 2/3 that are undergraduates and 1/3 graduate students. These students study on these two beautiful campuses and have access to more than 300 programs of study taught by some of the most renowned teachers and researchers in their fields. Across its academic disciplines, McGill prides itself on offering the most comprehensive learning experience possible, including opportunities for travel and hands-on learning through a wide range of internships, field studies, and global exchanges. Thanks in large part to our global reputation, McGill's talented students originate from more than 150 countries around the world, making McGill one of North America's most international universities. Fully 1 in 5 of our students hails from outside of Canada, and 31% of our students speak a mother tongue other than English or French. This makes for an incredibly diverse and dynamic university community where students from around the world can feel welcome and supported. McGill is also fortunate to benefit from an incredibly loyal, engaged, and dynamic alumni community, more than 215,000 strong, who can be found in almost every country across the globe. This includes more than 500 McGillians right here in Greece and in Cyprus. Our graduates include Nobel Prize winners, astronauts, Pulitzer Prize winning authors, renowned musicians, scientists, political leaders, demonstrating that a McGill degree opens doors and creates opportunities that can lead to great things. Beyond its academic excellence, McGill has also the great fortune to be located in one of the world's great cities, Montreal. Not only is our city bilingual and multicultural, but Montreal has a thriving Greek-speaking community that numbers almost 70,000. Montreal is safe, affordable, and a truly exciting place to live. It also has amazing food. And just recently today, we were ranked the 2nd happiest place in the world before Denmark. So Quebec is a good place to be. As many of our Canadian peers, McGill also has relatively affordable tuition rates, which Madame Mercure demonstrated. Just to give everybody a bit of a highlight, for international students at McGill, tuition rates vary between $50,000 and $27,000. If they're lucky to be Canadian students, it's under $6,000. We also offer a number of bursaries and scholarships for undergraduates, including international applicants. McGill guarantees a place in residence for all first-year students with a range of housing options both on and off campus. Admissions from the IB program is as follows. We review grade 11, and we also look at mid-year grade 12. Overall scores and results in prerequisite courses are examined. A minimum of 5 on all exams is required. Some other programs require even higher marks. I can go on, but I know we have limited time, so I'm happy to answer any specific questions you may have as our discussion progresses. But let me conclude by saying that, thanks to its outstanding academic quality, its diverse and international student population, its range of learning opportunities, and its vibrant urban location, McGill can offer your students one of the most unique and valuable educational experiences in the world. And as our thousands of highly accomplished worldwide alumni can confirm, a McGill education will help prepare them for their successful future, no matter where their lives or their ambitions take them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd now like to turn to McMaster University and Professor Kanaro. Who needs a microphone, I think. That cable doesn't go very far, right?
Well, I have not prepared any presentation or anything. I wasn't sure that we are going to have this presentation, several presentations. Nonetheless, I just want to say from the point of view of the experience that people are having in teaching in a Greek university or teaching in a Canadian university, the experience is very, very different. And also the experience for students is a different one. You have a much more structured environment in Canada, a much more you go to your class and you know that you are going to have your class. It's something that is not the case. When you go to a class in Greece, you might find that your class is cancelled, is occupied, it's the same with students. So this is an important difference between the two cultures, between the two universities. With respect to graduate studies, I found myself, from my experience, that it was a very rewarding experience, and I think it will be, I would recommend it to any of the students or any of the professors here to entice their students to go to Canada for graduate studies, or even for undergraduate studies. But this is not something that I think I have a personal experience on that. Well, I'll leave it here, and if there are any questions, I'll be happy to discuss.
Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce Dr. Helmut Reichenbacher, who's the Associate Vice President, Research and Dean of Graduate Studies, whose title was introduced, but he wasn't, so this morning. So please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to the guidance counselors. We are a specialized university for art and design. So for students who are interested in art and design, in combination with other subjects, we have breadth requirements which will require our art and design students to also engage in social sciences, humanities, as well as opportunities for entrepreneurial activities. We actually have a very vibrant system of supporting innovation as well as inventions. We have something called the Imagination Catalyst, which allows students who have just graduated and coming out of, say, a design program with some innovation to take this idea to market, and we will provide support to develop that idea, which we have found our students are very, very keen on those opportunities, because there are really phenomenal ideas that come out of the school. We're right in the center of downtown Toronto. It's a very vibrant context, multilingual, multicultural. We have the Toronto International Film Festival just next door. We have the Art Gallery of Ontario. We have a really vibrant IT sector. I think the greater Toronto area is fair to be described as such. There are lots of spin-offs that have emerged out of the big giants, the Blackberries. The Blackberry of Southern Ontario has been really beneficial to the environment. So we have these traditional components, of course, of an art and design school, but we also have a program called the Digital Futures, which is trying to put this all together. Digital Futures, we're taking the technology component and combining it with the art component, the design component, and the entrepreneurial component. Our director, Tom Barker, likes to speak of the X-shaped designer who can manage all of those four sectors. And it's a program that's going to ramp up further. And so opportunities for the Digital Futures program will be particularly significant. And we haven't had as much of a presence of Greek students as we would love to. Although we have just admitted a student from Greece into one of our most competitive graduate programs. And we're really absolutely thrilled that that was possible. And we hope to diversify our student body further. It's an environment where international students thrive because of the city, which is already multicultural, so students will feel welcome. It also has a significant Greek community in Toronto, and if any students ever were to get homesick too much, they could just go over to the Danforth and speak a little bit of Greek and have some wonderful Greek food. And it might not taste quite the same, but we're doing our best. So, and I believe there are materials on that. And I'd be happy to chat in person. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Eichenbach. I'd now like to ask Mr. Braniff of the Perimeter Institute to speak.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Ambassador, again for the opportunity. Much like OCAD, we're extremely specialized, probably even more so. But that still doesn't mean that we shouldn't be presenting our case and cause, because it's very important to spread a wide net. And with the land of mathematics and physics, it's very important to open those doors of opportunity. Just to give a little bit of an introduction to Perimeter, it's the world's largest institute for theoretical physics. We have approximately 150 theorists on site at any particular time, which is a combination of our faculty and our students, so it's not a large number of people, which is interesting whenever you think that we're the largest in the world. But at the same time, we have approximately 30 to 35 master's students that come in on an annual basis. These are some of the smartest kids in the world. They come from all over the world. It's an open recruitment process. Over 600 apply for these places. And whenever you're guidance counselors and you see some of these especially talented kids come through the ranks, it's important to give them the opportunity that they could apply for these kind of positions. And each a student that comes in to study at our master's program, we have scholarships and we have support for them, because obviously we're recruiting the best people. We have a very strong graduate program as well, and we have the largest postdoctorate program as well in the world. And the great thing about the programs that we have for our students is that they work constantly hand in hand with the physicists on some of the biggest questions that face humanity, looking at mapping black holes, looking at the origin structure of the universe, looking at the future of matter and quantum matter, which will hopefully be the next generation of technologies that will fuel our world. I'm really trying to ensure that we're giving the students that come in the best opportunity to really excel and to be the best that they can be. So if you have an interest in this area, or if you're aware of students within the universities that you're looking after, we're very open to having those conversations. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and we wish you all the best in your endeavors, because your job is very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's the turn of Simon Fraser.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here today, and we're really glad that you have an interest in Canadian universities. I think it's safe to say that for all of our institutions, we are all very strong in quality. And I think that if you choose any one of our institutions, your students will be doing well. There are some slight differences between all of us, of course. Simon Fraser University is on the west coast of Canada, which may seem like a long way for Greek students to come, but in fact we also in Vancouver have a very vibrant Greek community. It's a little smaller than Montreal and Toronto, but it's there and it's growing. Simon Fraser University accepts international students from around the world, and currently we have about 21% of our student population who are international, and that draws from everywhere. Vancouver and the Vancouver region is a very cosmopolitan area, and so it's easy for our students to connect in with people from their home country, but also engage with people from other cultures and really experience the best that all of that has to offer. We are ranked by Maclean's Magazine as the top comprehensive university in Canada. What that means is that we are a medium-sized institution. We offer undergraduate and all graduate degrees, but we do not have a medical or a legal program. So that's the distinction we make. We have a very research-intensive and research-informed curriculum at the undergraduate level, and we are very proud of the fact that we like to see all of our undergraduate students try to have some direct hands-on research experience during their degree with us. What else can I tell you? Simon Fraser University, if you have students who are athletes and who wish to continue their athletic career, Simon Fraser University is the only Canadian university that participates in the NCAA, which is the American athletics organization that often then leads on to professional athletic careers. We offer full scholarships that are specifically designated for incoming international students. Those are very competitive, but IB students tend to do well in that competition. And IB students in general tend to do very well in the course of their undergraduate degree. They are very well prepared. They have a rigorous curriculum, and they take that challenge on well. We also have residences, and while we aren't necessarily able to guarantee a residence spot unless it's packaged up with a scholarship, we do have a lot of residences to choose from, and so the chances are good a student coming from away will find a spot there. There is a wealth of information and very specific to IB students on our recruitment website, which is students.sfu.ca. And I would direct you to that because our recruitment professionals at the university would kill me if I gave you incorrect information. But we do offer transfer credit too for completed IB diplomas. So that would give students advanced standing at SFU. We also offer a range of experiential education. I'm getting 1 minute signal. But all of this is also detailed on our website. Students have opportunities to travel around the world for credit as part of their degrees. They can participate in cooperative education as part of their degrees. Sometimes in certain programs such as engineering it's required, but in any case it's beneficial and it's a wonderful opportunity. Generally speaking, it's a good community of students. It's a very flexible system because we have 3 semesters a year, so students can come in and out, which allows them to come home from time to time. So I direct you to the website, and we welcome your students and their interest in SFU. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Monsieur Gay, Université de Montréal.
I'm Yves Gay, representing the international office of Université de Montréal. It's not my job to recruit students, so I will improvise, as you would do it. So Université de Montréal is a French-speaking institution. We were talking about rankings, and my colleague is right. The average Canadian university is of a very high level, and there are differences between the universities, but not to the extent of what you would see in the US, for example. In other words, the average Canadian university level is very high. And you have in front of you representatives of the best English-speaking universities in Canada. But I can say I'm the representative of the best French-speaking universities in Canada. And in fact, if you look at rankings, comprehensive universities in the French-speaking world, you would find Université de Montréal and Université de Geneva in Switzerland. These are the two, according to rankings, these are the 2 best universities. You know, I'm coming from Quebec, the province of Quebec, city of Montreal. In Quebec, 80% of the population is French-speaking. And now the big thing is not to learn English, because everybody learns English, everybody's bilingual now. So the big thing is to learn a 3rd language. And if your students are very good in English and they want to learn a 3rd language, my university is a very good choice because French is an international language. Montreal is a marvelous city. Other rankings, Montreal, according to QS, is in the top 10 of the best cities in the world to study at the university level. There are only 2 in North America, Boston and Montreal. And a recent ranking by a leading bank in China that was performed with The Economist, well, Montreal would be #1 in the world for foreign students. So if they want to study in English, McGill is a very good choice. If they want to study in French, my university is the best choice. Not too bad, eh? I'm learning. And obviously, they can survive on the streets using English, and they can survive in certain neighborhoods of Montreal using Greek. And the food is good. It's the Greek food. My university is a big thing. We're second largest university in Canada, behind Toronto. We have 65,000 students. We're in each and every field you can imagine, with the exception of agronomy and geology, and at all levels, undergrad level, master's level, and PhD level. We are it's a French-speaking institution, but it has nothing to do with the French system. We're a North American university with a very nice campus, with sport facilities, residents. The environment is, it's a green campus, it's a green city actually. Montreal is a very pleasant place to be. So it's a green campus. Your students would be delighted, I would say, to study in our university. So you can do on the website, because as my colleague from Simon Fraser is saying, everything is there now in several languages, unfortunately not Greek. It's futurs étudiants, plural of future students, .umontréal.ca. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Gay, pour cette présentation. And I'd like to call on the University of New Brunswick, Dr. Coleman.
Thank you. I'm Dan Coleman, Assistant Vice President, Academic and International Strategies, part of my portfolio. We are a high-quality institution, but we're quite a bit different from most of my fellow Canadian universities here in that we're quite small, but still large in a sense. We are the oldest English-speaking university in Canada. We were founded in 1785, and we have a very long history of a number of firsts in education professions in Canada. The location, in case you don't know, is that we're on the east coast. We're on the Atlantic coast. The province of Nova Scotia is to our east. The province of Quebec is to our west. And the state of Maine is also shares one of our borders to the west. So that's our location. The east coast of Canada, the Atlantic region, is generally relatively sparsely populated in a relatively sparsely populated country. Some people might consider it rural, but that's okay. We have two campuses, one in Fredericton, that's the older campus, that's where I work. It is the capital of the province, and it's a city of 60,000 people. The other campus is located in St. John, which is the biggest city in the province with 130,000 people. Nonetheless, we are a comprehensive university, but we are the smallest comprehensive university in the smallest cities, located in the smallest cities in Canada. We do have robust offerings. Comprehensive university by Canadian standards means that we have a variety of degrees at the baccalaureate, master's, and doctoral levels. And we have programs in arts that includes humanities and social sciences, business, computer science, engineering, many disciplines in science, kinesiology, nursing, forestry, education, and law. And our university's recent strategic plan has a heavy emphasis on innovation and entrepreneurship. The size of the total university is 11,000, so it's much smaller than most of my colleagues here from Canada. About approximately 1,000 of those 11,000 students are international students, so it's roughly 10% of our population is international. One of the better aspects about studying at the University of New Brunswick, particularly at the undergraduate level, is that we have a student-faculty ratio of 22:1. Class sizes are generally quite small. An average class beyond first year would be 35 to 40 students. So it can be a very intimate experience. And there are a lot of clubs and societies for students to get involved. And it's participating in the extracurricular and co-curricular activities are sometimes at least equally, if not more important than the academics. So there's plenty of opportunities for students to get involved. As I said this morning, I use an analogy that the University of New Brunswick is sort of a Goldilocks of universities, that we're big enough to have a diversity of programs and range of opportunities, yet we're small enough that students can have an intimate experience and get to know their professors on a one-to-one basis if they choose. We do have residences. We do have scholarships available, some of them automatic, including for international students. And there are on and off campus employment opportunities available. I can make a different kind of pitch to you than I can make to the parents. There are a few distractions in Fredericton. It's small, it's safe. Our airport, we have students and international visitors say, "How will you find me at the airport?" And I say, "Don't worry, we have one arrival gate. I will find you." But it's an international airport nonetheless. In a sense, Fredericton, the main campus, is a classic university town. We are the second largest employer in the city. With a city of 60,000 people and about 9,000 students in Fredericton, we have a significant presence in the community, and we have very good relationships between the cities and us. So it's a great educational opportunity, and with a great quality of life. Ask you to think about exploring our university a little bit further, and I'll be happy to answer any questions later. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. I'd now like to invite the Université d'Ottawa, the University of Ottawa. Dr. Slater?
So you've heard from my colleagues that someone claimed to have the best French language university and the other one the best English language university. So I can claim that I have the best bilingual university in Canada. The University of Ottawa, as you know, is located in the capital of Canada. No, Toronto is not the capital of Canada, it's Ottawa. Canada is a bilingual country, so is my university. We teach the courses twice, so there is a French version and there is an English version. So if your children want to learn both languages, they can alternate between courses. Even if they take a course in French, they can write their exam in English. So it's a unique opportunity to learn another language. The capital of Canada has 1 million people. The university, well, from my office to the office of the Prime Minister of Canada, it's a 10-minute walk. So it gives you an idea how central the university is. Like the rest of Canada, Ottawa is a very safe and clean city. It's a beautiful city to live in. It's very, very close to Quebec. I can walk to Quebec in about 15 minutes, just cross a bridge. My university is a large, comprehensive university with 43,000 students, so we have almost all possible disciplines. One thing that my colleagues have not said, that applies to a lot of Canadian universities, is that your kids can come and learn more than one thing at a given time. A student can come to our place, do a major in physics, and a double major program would allow the student to do both physics and music, for example. There are lots of combinations like that for children who are very gifted in many different things. We have an international office that welcomes the student. We take care of them. We pamper them a little bit. We try to help them solve their problems, including getting used to Canadian food. Well, that applies more to Chinese students. It's more difficult. In terms of discipline, at the university, as I said, we have most disciplines. We have a large faculty of medicine, one of the top faculties of medicine in Canada. We have the largest faculty of law in the country, and the reason is simple. In Canada, we have both common law and civil law. So at the University of Ottawa, we teach civil and common in French and English. That's a lot of lawyers, I can tell you, on campus. Being in a national capital, you would expect the university to train a lot of civil servant, people from the public service. That's the case. And as a consequence, we have a very large faculty of social sciences, teaching political science, public administration, international development, international affairs and relations, international economics, and things like that. So it goes without saying, of course. We have a large business school, and if you're familiar with that, business schools around the world are accredited by 3 main bodies, and my faculty of business actually is accredited by all 3 of them. There's less than 100 business schools in the entire world who has what they call the Triple Crown, and ours is one of these very few. In the sciences, our strong fields are physics and chemistry. We have also a large faculty of engineering, where information technology and communication is really central. And finally, as I did this morning, but the counselors were not present, I'll take the last few seconds to make an editorial comment. One thing when I visit China and I meet with parents and I meet with children who are thinking about going abroad, one thing that is very important to them, they want to make sure that their Canadian degree will be recognized in the United States. Because many of them, they want to come to Canada, do a bachelor, and then do a PhD in the US. Or do a PhD in Canada, and then a postdoc in the United States. It's very, very important to realize that Canadian degrees are recognized in the United States. As a matter of fact, when I was a graduate student in physics, it was well known that 10% of all physics professors in the United States were Canadian. And 10% is actually the fraction of the North American population that lives in Canada. So there's basically no border between the 2 countries in terms of education, quality of the degrees, or recognition of the degrees. So this is really, really important, and I think it's underestimated. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Slater. I'd now like to call on Dr. Martin Singer, the Dean of Faculty of Liberal Arts and Professional Studies at York University. Dr. Singer?
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. So let me just say, besides being a dean, I'm a father of 4, grandfather of many, and I have a passionate belief in higher education as an opportunity for mind broadening, and I believe in study abroad passionately. I believe for my own grandchildren, we've encouraged, actually we just sent one of our granddaughters to study abroad as part of a high school course. This is the most important decision that we think a parent can make in the formation of their children. So what is York University? I'm not going to say we're the biggest or the best. We are one of the biggest and the best, but I'm not going to say it in that way. Toronto is the largest city in Canada. Toronto is a unique city in the world. There's 200 ethnic groups identified in the last census living in Toronto. Toronto has a population of about 3 million within the confines of the city, 5.5 million in what we call the Greater Toronto Area. Half of the people living in Toronto were not born in Canada. The diversity is breathtaking. Now, of the 55,000 students studying at York University, 55,000 students, one of the 10 largest universities in North America, half of the undergraduate student population is either international students, 10%, or students who are newly arrived in Canada as immigrants, first-generation Canadians. What an incredible experience for our students and students from another country. We have a very diverse student population. We have the world's #1 ranked EMBA program according to the Economist ranking that I just saw a few weeks ago. We have one of the highest ranked law schools in Canada, depending on which ranking you use. We have one of the largest and most respected fine arts faculties in the country. We have a unique environmental studies faculty. We have faculty that I'm in charge of that, if you look at the QS rankings from the UK, you'll see that many of our humanities programs are ranked in the top 100 in the world, and many of the social science programs in the top 150 or 200 in the world. This is a very exciting place. But we also try to say to you, our students have a huge buffet. We offer more than 1,000 programs. So our challenge is to deal with each of these 55,000 students with 1,000 programs in an individual sort of way. And I'm pleased that I have here with me the mother of all students at the York University. I'm serious. This young lady over here, the Associate Vice President International, is single-handedly responsible and does an incredible job with the large number, 4,000 or more international students that we have at York University. She is unbelievable. She is our direct link between the parents all over the world and our student body. We offer scholarships on the basis of academic merit. All students with above a 95 average or a 90 average get some form of scholarship assistance based on merit. We also have special scholarships from the Arcos Foundation and others. We offer opportunities to work in related areas on campus and off campus. But I think what we really offer is a life-changing experience for the students. I couldn't have been more pleased than to hear, my colleague here from the University of Piraeus is a graduate of my former university. He seems to have prospered in this environment, and everybody in this room who's a colleague who studied abroad for one of their degrees has, I think, benefited from this enormously. We are so grateful to you. We are so grateful to you for encouraging students to study abroad, and Canada should be in this buffet of choices that you have available to you. I'll be glad to talk to any of you